members of Congress are trying to find ways to improve certain programs that help disadvantaged students afford college. Now, in that equation is Pell Grants. Pell Grants, of course, are grants given to individuals who do not have enough of an income to pay for college. Now, during this discussion, Representative Glenn Grothman from Wisconsin tried to make an argument about how maybe Pell Grants don't make a lot of sense and maybe they should be cut. Maybe they should be reformed to the point where they're not as available to disadvantaged students. And then he gave one reason that I thought was extremely strange. Take a look.
I've received anecdotal evidence in my district of people not getting married. Because of course, if you don't get married, it's easier to be in poverty and get Pell Grants. Would you care to comment on that? Anybody comment on that? I mean, I've heard it from several people. You're the experts.
Yeah, so everyone was very confused as to why he was asking a ridiculous question. He himself admitted in the framing of that question that he had anecdotal evidence that people were abstaining from marriage just so they would qualify for Pell Grants. First of all, he's an idiot. People who are applying for Pell Grants are college students, right? They're people fresh out of high school in a lot of cases who are like 18 years old maybe. And secondly, why are Republicans, specifically conservative Republicans, so obsessed with the idea of marriage being a sound economic policy? Like, oh, you can't afford college? Just get married, mooch off someone else, be financially dependent. That's our economic policy for you. No, that's not a good way to tell people how to afford college, okay? Encouraging them to get married is not economic policy. How about you come up with something that actually makes sense and actually helps the American people, rather than trying to find ways to cut certain programs that help disadvantaged individuals, afford a higher education. What an idiot! What an idiot!
So I didn't think you were going to go in that direction.
He's a fucking idiot.
Okay, I want to attack him on a different thing. So, but first, one of the people he asked was Barmak Nasirian. He's the director of federal relations and policy analysis at the American Association of State Colleges and Universities. And when presented with this absurd anecdotal evidence about people not getting married at the age of 17 and 18 so they can qualify for Pell Grants, he said, I'm not sure what to do with that information.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Okay, so, but to me, that was not the straw that broke the camel's back.
No, that was the most absurd thing he said, but get a load of more of his accusations against individuals who need these Pell Grants.
The Pell Grant program or other programs have been subject to criticism for even when I was in college by the middle class. And people got tired of the American government hating the middle class, and they have to kick in for their kids' programs, or their kids have to take out loans. Well, maybe kids from some other families seem to get things for free. Do you think one way to deal with this problem would be to have, say, no Pell Grants in your freshman year, at least have for the freshman year, have the kids who aren't in the middle class take out loans like the kids in the middle class already have to, and that way you could make sure that everybody who's going to college after at least they get through the first year are more serious about college? You think that'd be a fair thing to do?
Carson, I think what you're asking is if there's a Robin Hood effect in higher education, where middle class and upper middle class people are paying for poor people and who aren't ready for college. Am I understanding your question?
Well, just the unfairness, the resentment. I know in many ways in this country we hate the middle class. You know, we love the rich, we love the poor, we hate the middle class. People wonder why. Sometimes they use these Pell Grants too for goodies and electronics, and they resent the fact that by doing it right, their kids are penalized.
You know who hates the middle class? Grothman does. He hates the middle class. How do you think people from low socioeconomic statuses make it to the middle class? They do it through education, right? And you want to do away with what little government money they get in order to afford college. And then he has the fucking audacity to talk about, oh, why don't these students take out loans like the middle class? Oh, you think the couple $1,000s that they get through Pell Grants pays for their college education? Here's what's really going on. Everyone's taking out loans for college right now. That's how expensive it is. Everyone, middle class, disadvantaged, even people who come from wealthier families have to take out loans because tuition is so insanely expensive, which is why right now we have $1.2 trillion in student loan debt. Okay, that's what's going on. You hate the middle class. Okay, you hate the middle class.
So he's basically saying, why don't you take out loans from my banker friends, which then, thanks to the laws we passed, that will be an albatross around your neck for the rest of your life and you'll never be able to get rid of. And so instead, some poor people actually can live the American dream by also getting an education? Yuck. Ugh. I mean, how dare they try to get up to our level or just get up to the middle class? And then to me, the most obnoxious part of it was so they could get goodies and electronics. Look at how loaded that statement is. And look at how much they hate the poor. They hate them. Their assumptions are, oh, they're all a bunch of rip-off artists. They're not actually trying to get an education. They're just getting the Pell Grant so they can get electronics and goodies. And they're dropping out of college right away. No, in fact, experts explain that the moment that you need the grants the most is actually your first year.
That's exactly right.
And so that you could actually, that if you can get past the first year, you're far more likely to stay in school, etc. What kind of sense does it make if you can't even attend the first year of school because you don't have any grants? Well, how the hell are you going to get to the third year if you didn't have the money to get into the first year? Because he doesn't want you to get an education.
Also, can we just finally accept the fact that having electronics like a computer or a telephone is not just a luxury, okay? It's something that you literally need in today's society just to keep up with things. If you're in college, you need a computer, okay? You might not have a computer and you might rely on your cell phone as your computer. A lot of people do that because the smartphone, you can surf the web, you can do your research. I've done that when I'm traveling and I don't want to, lug my computer around everywhere with me. So like this notion that electronics are only reserved for the wealthiest, right? And if you're poor, you need to live like the piece of shit that they think that you are. It drives me absolutely insane. By the way, this is the same representative who in 2012 wanted to pass legislation that wanted to classify single parenthood as child neglect or child abuse. That's the kind of politician that person is, okay, from Wisconsin.
But you very likely literally need it for your coursework. But a lot of these old Republicans grew up in a town where they're like, oh, well, I used to write things out. What do you need a computer for? Are you trying to play video games? No, idiot. That's what I need to do my coursework on because we live in the modern world. And you can't qualify for a Pell Grant unless you can't afford it, unless you can't afford college.
Right.
So this is the only way you can go to college. But again, he doesn't want you to go to college. He has nothing but disdain for the poor. He doesn't want you to make it in the middle class. He doesn't believe in the American dream. He thinks it's reserved for his friends. And if your kids don't make it, got you.
Later on, he mentioned that he believed there were too many people going to college. Okay, he stated that himself. There are too many people going to college, and then he advocated for schools where people can go and learn how to be welders and things like that. Okay, you know where his mind is, okay? If he thinks that you are from a lower socioeconomic status, there should not be an economic ladder that you can climb in order to be part of the middle class. He hates the middle class, he hates the poor. The only people he cares about is the wealthy or those who share his ridiculous conservative beliefs, okay?
In other words, he's saying you should be our errand boys, you should be welders, you should just work for us. Okay, how dare you try to make your life a little bit better, your kids' lives a little bit better. And ironically, these are the same Republicans who turn around and go, what? You have all the opportunity in the world in America. And if you didn't make it, it's your fault because we gave you all the opportunity. While in the middle of the night, he tries to rob you of that opportunity.
We already hired one investigative reporting team thanks to you guys. Let's hire the second right now. Go to tytnetwork.com/go.